Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Esoteric and our new series, Nuon It Again, where I take a look at some of the Nuon games and hardware when I feel like it. I did a previous video on the Nuon hardware and you guys absolutely went wild for it and requested to see more gameplay footage, and I said I would find some controllers. A friend of mine, Airfixus, let me borrow all these games and his controllers, and I don't care what people say about him, I think he's alright. All jokes aside, do me a huge favor, go down below, hit like and subscribe, that notification bell definitely helps us out. And if you feel like supporting the channel, I got a Patreon link down below as well. But you'll see here in my original Nuon video, I went over the controller port. And the issue with the Nuon is that the controllers are proprietary, and there's a chip on them that is, at this point in time of recording this, not yet reverse engineered, but I think it's getting close. But without a controller, you can't really control the games outside of using the DVD remote, and trust me, it's like peeing upriver, it's gonna suck for you guys. But Air sent me controllers, and that is absolutely spectacular because now, coming up, we will be having reviews of all the Nuon games I feel like talking about. But we have two controllers here, and the first one is the Samsung, and I will say, while this is comfortable in the hand, this has got to be the cheapest, lightest controller I have ever felt. I swear if I pushed hard enough on it, the shell would crack. We also have the Logitech analog stick, and this just did not work whatsoever on my Toshiba unit. I don't know if it's not working, he never tested it, he got it in new old stock, and that analog stick is the floppiest thing I have ever felt. I do not know how you would possibly use it. So the controllers are not very high quality, and you'll see this tiny little connector that's part of the proprietary nature, but that's just the port. The chip is really in the controller itself, but I do like that they branded it Nuon. It's a small, nice touch. But now that we have controllers for the unit, we can actually get gameplay captures and I can play the games without feeling like a complete moron. But let's go over the hardware again, especially if you're new to the series. This might be a retread for the old video, but trust me, it's going to have some new and interesting information. All the Nuon is a DVD player. It doesn't look from the outside like anything else that you've seen before. If you've owned one DVD player, it could have been a Nuon and you wouldn't have even noticed. The nice thing is you get component, you get composite, you get S-video out, and the component is very nice quality for captures. It's as good as the unit will do, so it's nice that we have these options. But a lot of people have never seen the inside of a Nuon before, and you'll see here that it pretty much looks just like a DVD player, except for that one board on the left that has that Nuon logo on it. That's the entire brains of the Nuon quote-unquote console. And you'll see there that we have a lot of different ribbon connectors coming off of it and a lot of different chips. But that main Nuon chip in the middle is what makes this not just a DVD player, it makes it a Nuon player with the ability to play games or render 3D graphics as well as do interesting things with DVDs themselves, different zooms and fast forwards, which honestly I'm not even going to show because they're not that exciting. But this board controls the entire DVD player. It's not just the Nuon chip, it also handles all the buttons on the front, all the interfacing with the laser, all of the power distribution, everything that's inside of this unit goes through that Nuon board right there. And you'll see that it even connects to the power supply. Now I don't know anything about the longevity of these units. Mine works perfectly fine and the caps look good. I haven't really heard anything about Nuons dying other than them not liking to read DVD-Rs, and that's just kind of part and parcel of dealing with this hardware. But it seems like from the build quality, everything is still good to go about 23 years later. You'll even see the controller ports, they snake around, but pop right back into that Nuon board. Everything is interconnected. So that's basically the brain. I don't know if it's a Nuon design board or if this was a Toshiba board that they just were able to add the Nuon chip to. There's not a ton of information on how it all functions together, other than the fact that it does work. You'll see the power supply over here as well. Again, the caps look nice, they're all of nice quality. I really don't think you'd have to worry about a cap job on this for a very long time, if at all. But let's take this thing out so we can talk about what it looks like outside of the board itself. There's tons of different ribbon connectors and a few screws to pop out. This is just for this model. Open up a different Nuon, it's going to look completely different, so don't use this as a teardown guide if you don't own the same unit that I do. But now that we have those screws out of the place, you even have these nice little plastic clips holding that board in, and we can liberate the brain from the body. And you'll see right in the middle, that Nuon chip is marked Nuon. Apparently there's two different versions of this chip, and one has a higher clock speed, but apparently it doesn't affect games whatsoever. Maybe there's going to be even better Nuon games in the pipeline, but obviously this wasn't the most popular thing in the world and it didn't last long, so we don't really know what could potentially be done there. There's even some spots on the top of the board for chips that aren't soldered in. On the back, you've got an analog devices chip and a couple other assorted things and a ton of surface mount components. This thing is lousy with surface mount stuff. If one of those went bad, I would not want to try to find it. It would take an eternity. But the NUON chip is the brain, is that it talks to the controller, so let's get back to those. And it is great to have these two different options, even if one completely just didn't work, because I can show it to you on camera. But using the controller that does work, the Samsung, it is made by a company called Hot Products. And I will tell you, the only thing hot about this is how cheaply it was possibly made. I even took out my kitchen scale. It's for coffee beans, nothing else, so don't get any ideas. And it weighs 115.5 grams. I tell you, trust me when I say, holding this in the hand, it weighs nothing. But the NUON's not any good without any games, and trust me, burning DVDRs is very hit or miss. So Air also sent over some games for us to check out, and that's what I was using to get the original captures for all the reviews. And taking a look at the inside of Tempest here, I do like the gold case. It's a nice touch, and they did do something to differentiate it on the shelf. The artwork looks great on the disc, and we've got some different nomenclature literature inside of the package. We have this advertisement for different NUON controllers, all three of which look like they are ergonomically a disaster, and one that seems like it's just waiting for a lawsuit from Nintendo. But hey, you can register your product, that's nice. And if we take a look inside, it shows you some of the games that were coming, and if you don't notice, right in the middle miss there, never came out on the NUON. There's probably like 20 games planned, there's about 7 that you can actually play. The manuals are decent, they're all black and white, so there's not the most to look at inside of them, but it is fun to see. And when I was able to play Tempest 3000 fully, and that review will be coming soon, I will tell you, it's a 10 out of 10 banger of a game. Unfortunately, the manual is nowhere near as colorful as the game itself, and trust me, the colors in that, I can't wait for you guys to see it and take a look at it and hear the review, because it is a ton of fun. Well, let's move on to something that you probably have never seen before, thanks to Air again. This is a sealed copy of Ballistic. This is basically just the same game on the Capcom CPS2 from Mitchell Corp, converted over to NUON. But it's sealed, and we're going to open it up. Don't know what the value of a sealed copy of this is, but I'll tell you right now, it's a lot less that we're taking off the wrapper. And again, Air, thanks for letting me do this on camera. It was a ton of fun, and if you lost money, well, that's on you, not me. Just kidding. But let's cut this here. We'll just leave a little bit of extra fun. We don't take the sticker off. We'll use a knife, and we'll see what would come in a new old stock Ballistic case. And I will say, not much whatsoever. The disc was loose, but it was perfectly fine. And we have a quote-unquote manual to the left of that disc, and it is just a one piece of paper. It's got a little description of what the game is on the front, and if you take a look at the game right here, if you've never played the game on CPS2, it's definitely fun on NUON, but if you have played it on CPS2, well, why bother? The review will be a lot better than that. And on the back, you get some controls. It's really kind of a dumpy bummer, but hey, fun to open up on camera. He also sent along a sealed copy of the Songbird reprint of Iron Soldier 3, and I will tell you, I could not get this to boot on my NUON. It just said disk error, maybe it's not signed. Now the rumor is that my unit, my Toshiba NUON player, will not play Iron Soldier 3. It will boot it, and it will freeze at the end of the cutscene, and you cannot get to the gameplay. If you listen to the internet, it's going to tell you that do not bother to try, no one's ever got it to work before, it just doesn't happen. So we have a disc that won't play, but maybe if we burned it on DVR, something would happen, we'd get lucky, and I will tell you, I don't know what's going on with that rumor, but my NUON played it fine. I burnt the game, and there's a review coming. I don't know what that bug's all about, but I did not experience it. And hey, Songbird even gave us a couple color pages in the manual, a couple color shots, just a little bit of extra intrigue. But I can't promise if you buy the same model of NUON DVD player that I have that you'll be able to get Iron Soldier 3 to boot. Maybe I just got lucky, maybe I've got a weird unit, but I'll say it did in fact happen. He also sent 2 NUON movies, Planet of the Apes and Bedazzled, that I did not capture because I didn't really care that much about it, and no, don't ask me for a video on the DVD features of NUON. I'm not really in the mood. Even if Mark Wahlberg is pretty funny in this movie, it's just not really what I want to do. But yeah, NUON is coming. You guys asked so many times in the comments for full reviews of the NUON games on original hardware, and I said that if enough people asked, I would find controllers and games and I would do it for you, and that's exactly what we're going to do. Maybe these will all be every Friday, maybe I'll take a week in between, we'll see how I feel about dealing with it, but NUON is coming to the channel now that we have all this new stuff to show you. I try to listen to what you guys want, so please do me a huge favor. If you're not, go down below and hit subscribe and ring that like button and the notification bell. It definitely helps us out. More Nuon is coming soon. Bye bye.